In the heart of a bustling village called Umueze, lived Obinna, a man known for his immense wealth. Despite his riches, he was unhappy. He longed for a love that was genuine, untainted by his fortune. Every time he met a woman, she seemed more interested in his wealth than in him. He wished to be loved for who he was, not for what he had. Obinna confided in his elderly mother, who had always guided him with wisdom. If you want to find true love, Obinna, you must let go of your riches, at least for a time. Show yourself as an ordinary man and see who will love you when you have nothing. Her words stayed with him. Determined to find someone who loved him for his heart, not his gold, Obinna devised a plan. One quiet evening, he left his grand estate, dressed as a simple villager. He wore tattered clothes, his fine jewelry hidden, and with a weathered bag slung over his shoulder, he became just another face in the crowded marketplace. No one recognized him as the wealthy man who lived in the big house on the hill. Days turned into weeks as Obinna wandered the village, observing the people around him. He worked odd jobs, helping farmers, fixing broken fences, and carrying goods for market sellers. Through these small tasks, he got to know the women of the village better. Most ignored him, seeing him as nothing more than a poor man with no prospects. Some were kind, but only out of pity, while others mocked his ragged appearance. Obinna felt disheartened, but he pressed on. One day, while carrying firewood to the river, he met Adaora, a young woman who worked as a seamstress. She was known for her humility and hard work. Unlike the others, Adaora spoke to him kindly, not as a poor man, but as an equal. She laughed at his jokes and shared stories of her dreams and struggles. When Obinna asked her why she was always so happy despite her humble means, she smiled and said, "I don't need riches to be happy. What matters is the heart. The heart is where true wealth lies." Obinna was drawn to her sincerity. He spent more and more time with Adaora, helping her carry her wares, joining her on walks to the river, and listening to her sing as she worked. As they grew closer, Obinna could feel something deep within him stirring, something he hadn't felt before. But he still wasn't sure if her feelings were genuine. Could she love a poor man? One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky in hues of gold and red, Obinna asked Adaora a question that had weighed heavily on his heart. "Would you marry a man who has nothing to offer but his love?" Adaora looked at him with soft eyes. "Love is all that matters to me. If a man's heart is true, that is all the wealth I need." Her words hit him like a wave, washing away his doubts. At that moment, he knew Adaora was the one he had been searching for. But Obinna wasn't ready to reveal his true identity just yet. He wanted to test her one last time. A week later, he told her he had to leave the village to seek work in another town. He promised to return as soon as he could. Adaora, though saddened, gave him her blessing, wishing him safety and good fortune. Months passed, and during that time, Obinna sent word back to the village through messengers, pretending to be a poor man struggling to make ends meet. Despite his apparent poverty, Adaora never wavered in her affection. She even sent him a small amount of money she had saved from her sewing, despite her own meager earnings. When Obinna returned to Umueze, he did so not as the poor man Adaora knew, but as himself, the wealthy man she had never met. He arrived with an entourage, dressed in fine clothes, and riding in an ornate carriage. The villagers were in awe, rushing to greet the rich man. But Adaora, standing in the crowd, felt no excitement. She had no interest in wealth or titles. Obinna asked to see her privately. When they met, he stood before her, no longer in disguise. He took her hands gently and said, "Adaora, I am not who you think I am. I am Obinna, the richest man in this village. But it was never my wealth that mattered. I needed to find someone who could love me for who I am, without riches, without pretense. And you, Adaora, are that person." Tears welled in Adaora's eyes, not from shock, but from joy. "You never needed to be rich to win my heart, Obinna. It was always your kindness and your soul that I loved." Obinna smiled, his heart full for the first time in his life. "And now I ask you again, Adaora, will you marry me, knowing who I truly am?" Without hesitation, she nodded. "Yes, Obinna, I will." The two were married in a grand celebration, not because of Obinna's wealth, but because of the love they shared. And from that day forward, Obinna knew that no fortune could ever compare to the treasure he had found in Adaora's heart.